Alabama is a 3-point favorite on the road at LSU. Will, I've talked about this game 5 million times today. There's only so many ways to diagnose it. I'll just tell you my two keys and I'll let you ride with it. We all know what Jalen Milroe can do off script, right? Like it's been well documented that he is a guy that when things get away from the plan, he is probably better in terms of that. He's better outside of the formation of what you want to do. LSU, and someone told me this today, they got not Marcel Reed, they got Marcel read to death in College Station in that second half. The zone read killed them in that second half. Now, Alabama is not doing as many quarterback designed runs, but I'll tell you one thing. If Kalen DeBoer and this coaching staff don't run the ball with Jalen Milroe, if they don't go Milroe right, Milroe left the entire game, not the entire game, but for a majority of it, they're not serious about winning. Like I'll just tell you that. Like if you do not run the ball with him or run him, you're not serious about winning. I don't care the sex appeal. I don't care how good it looks. Go win a football game on the road. That's how you do it. I'm concerned about LSU's defensive line being over aggressive and the front seven being over aggressive and playing outside of themselves and Milroe running wild. And then on the flip side, I mean, a lot of what we talked about Carson Beck, you could say about Garrett Nussmeier at this point. They've got tons of talent, but the decision-making aspect of this is concerning to me. Can Garrett Nussmeier be decisive? Can he know where he needs to go with the football? And can he feel like he doesn't have to win the game by himself? You mentioned it with Georgia. I'll mention it with LSU. You got to have some type of running game if you're LSU. You can't ask him to drop back 50 times and throw the football around. So those are my two kind of keys to watching this game. Well, I'm just going to tell you, I mean, I'm leaning Alabama in this one on the road because I know that I get it. You can talk to me about everything. There's nothing you can tell me about this that's going to surprise me. The discipline issues of Alabama, I get it. They got to come in Tiger Stadium. That's fine. But when LSU has been bad on defense, Will, they have been bad. And there's not an in-between. They're either solid or they are, I mean, through a tin horn, Will. I mean, that's what they're doing. So, that to me that's the concern. If it gets bad, I don't know how you rein it back in against a guy like Milroe. I don't know how you bring it back down to even. Georgia did that in the second half, but we'll see. And then the last point, when Jalen Milroe can pass, like when he gets into a little bit of a rhythm, top 3, top 5 most unguardable player there is in college football. Because if he gets confidence with his arm, I don't know how you defend him. So that's kind of my thoughts. Wanted to get I'm taking Alabama in a close one. Actually, no, I'll just tell you my prediction straight up. It's Alabama 33, LSU 24. That was my final score prediction. So I've got Alabama covering this and by 9 points.
No surprise. I'm thinking the opposite. I think Alabama's discipline issues are too much to fix in just 2 weeks. I think that's a culture systemic problem that they have. And I don't think it can be corrected. And they're going to the worst environment that they'll be in all year for it. LSU's been undisciplined a lot too. So, I mean, this game might be whoever has less penalty yards is going to win this game.
Yeah.
And, you've talked LSU's defense has been up and down, but I think, personnel wise, I think I got to give LSU the advantage. I mean, they can stack the box to stop the run and then still bracket or double team Ryan Williams all game. I mean, there's not really anybody else on the Alabama offense that you're really scared about. And honestly, if you're playing Alabama, you should tell them, say, we're going to make somebody other than Milroe or Williams beat us.
Yeah.
Make somebody else beat you. And, I think Blake Baker is one of the top defensive coordinators, not just in the SEC, but in the entire country. I think he's done a incredible job with that LSU defense. Turning them around in 1 year has been spectacular, and doing it without the best player on that football team for most of this year. It's been incredible. I just think being at home, LSU has the slight edge. I don't know. No, you can't make Nuss play hero ball, and I think LSU's done that too much. I know Caden Durham, great freshman running back, he's had some injury problems. Hadn't been 100% the last few games. If LSU can get the run game going, I think they can control this game and win it. Dare I say comfortably comfortably being like 5 to 10 points.
No, yeah. I mean, As much as what I just said in pro Alabama in my statement, I'm right there with you. Like if the things happen like what you said, LSU should win this game. I mean, I think personnel wise they're better. I think they're the better team personnel wise. Alabama has deficiencies. It's real deficiencies. You mentioned the culture and all this type of stuff, and we'll see what happens. We've already seen like when things don't go well for Alabama, they really don't go well in terms of the mental capacity that they can handle, tough situations. I know they beat South Carolina, and faced adversity, but the other data points aren't very good on the road at Vanderbilt. If you can't handle on the road at Vanderbilt, you have to ask the question: how can you handle 100,000+ Cajuns screaming at you who've been drinking since 7 a.m. on Thursday? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a real question. And so, I just with LSU, this game's so important in terms. I mean, it's a playoff game, just like
Oh
Georgia
yeah.
Ole Miss is. I mean, this is a playoff game. You get them at home. This is your best shot. I'll say this because this is something I've noticed just having covered the team. There's been a little bit of frustration on the LSU side of things in play calling. If you're Joe Sloan, who is, by the way, in conversations to be the head coach at some G5 schools, particularly one in the AAC, if you're Joe Sloan, you can't leave anything in the clip here against Al. This is it. I mean, this is your shot. If you lose this game, you're on upset watch next week at Florida, buddy. I mean, I'll tell you that right now because you'll learn a lot about the character and the culture of this Brian Kelly led team if they lose. You got to empty the clip against Alabama. This is it. You win this game, you got a pretty good chance at winning out and being a playoff team. If you lose it, we'll see. So the play calling offensively is going to be very interesting to me. And then you mentioned, how do you beat Milroe? Keep him in the pocket, man.
Hmm.
Make him be a
Yep.
pocket passer. If you can do that, like, well, I don't want to bring it up. I get it. But last year's Auburn game, Auburn did such a good job of that for so long. If that's the recipe, keep the dude in the pocket and make him play quarterback. Like, that's what you have to do to beat Jalen Milroe. I don't know if they can do it. They've got the pass rush to get to him. They just can't be over aggressive.
Yep.
When he senses that, man, he's going to take off, and he's arguably the best athlete on the field when he does that. So I agree with you. It could go either
LSU
way.
just
We'll see.
if LSU rushes more than two, they'll probably be all right.
Oh God, brutal, brutal. If it comes down to that, I'm FaceTiming you from the corner of the end zone. That's for sure.